988 calls and not meant for the stuff I found on my grandparents' old property. The old farmhouse had been empty for nearly 20 years. Grandpa passed first, then Grandma followed not long after, and nobody in the family had the heart to deal with the place. We all had our own lives, our own houses. So the farmhouse sat, slowly decaying under the relentless Georgia sun, vines creeping up its faded yellow siding. I drew the short straw, finally volunteered to go out there and start sorting through things. I figured a weekend would be enough to clear out the essentials, figure out what was salvageable, what needed to be junked. I was wrong. The air was thick and heavy as I pulled up the long, overgrown driveway. The house loomed before me, a skeletal silhouette against the darkening sky. The porch sagged, and the windows were dark, lifeless eyes staring back at me. I unlocked the front door, the rusty tumblers clicking in protest, and pushed it open. The smell hit me immediately, a musty, earthy odor mixed with something else, something vaguely metallic, like old blood. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through the grimy windows. The furniture was shrouded in white sheets, like ghosts gathered in silent vigil. I started with the living room, pulling the sheets off the furniture. It was all old, worn, but familiar. The floral couch where I'd spent countless hours reading as a kid, the sturdy oak coffee table where we'd built Lego empires. It was sad, seeing it all like this, frozen in time. In the corner, tucked behind a grandfather clock, I found a box. It was made of dark wood, intricately carved with symbols I didn't recognize. It was heavy, and the lid was locked. Curiosity piqued, I grabbed a screwdriver from my toolbox and carefully pried it open. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, was a collection of oddities. A tarnished silver locket, a handful of dried flowers, a child's tooth wrapped in a scrap of yellowed cloth, and a small, leather-bound book. The book was what drew me in. The cover was blank, the leather cracked and worn. I opened it carefully, the brittle pages rustling like dried leaves. The script was handwritten, in an elegant, looping style, but the language was unfamiliar. It wasn't English, not anything I recognized. As I flipped through the pages, I noticed something else. Small, crudely drawn symbols were scattered throughout the text, stick figures contorted in strange positions, geometric shapes, and something that looked disturbingly like a human eye. The sun began to set, casting long, eerie shadows across the room. A chill ran down my spine, and I suddenly felt like I was being watched. I closed the book, placed it back in the box, and slammed the lid shut. I decided to call it a night. I slept fitfully, plagued by strange dreams, whispers in an unknown tongue, shadowy figures lurking in the corners of my vision. I woke up feeling exhausted, uneasy. The next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The house felt different, heavier somehow. The air was thick with a sense of dread. I went back to the living room, drawn back to the box. I opened it again, my hands trembling slightly. The book was still there, but something was different. The symbols seemed more prominent, darker, as if they had been freshly drawn. I picked up the book, my fingers tracing the strange symbols. As I did, I heard a noise, a faint scratching sound coming from inside the walls. It started off slow, almost imperceptible, but it grew louder, more insistent. Panic began to set in. I slammed the book shut again, threw it back into the box, and stood up, my heart pounding in my chest. The scratching grew louder, closer. It was coming from everywhere now, the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Then, I heard something else, a whisper, just barely audible above the scratching. It was the same language as the book, the same elegant, looping script. It sounded like a name. My name. I stumbled back, knocking over a lamp. The scratching intensified, turning into a frantic, desperate scrabbling. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, a chorus of voices calling my name. I ran. I didn't stop to think, didn't stop to grab anything. I just ran, out of the house, down the driveway, back to my car. I fumbled with the keys, my hands shaking so badly I could barely get them into the ignition. I drove away as fast as I could, not daring to look back. I didn't stop until I was miles away, in the safety of a brightly lit gas station. I haven't been back to the farmhouse since. I tried to tell someone what happened, but nobody believed me. They said I was stressed, tired, imagining things. Maybe they're right. But I still hear the scratching sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet. And I still dream of the whispers, calling my name in the darkness. I looked up what the numbers mean to do with calls. I did not expect what I found. I called the number and just silence was on the other side. This happened a week ago. I don't know what I found in that box, but I know it wasn't meant to be found. And I know it's still out there, waiting,